Picture this, it's 1792, and a book just drops that sends absolute shockwaves through society. It's a fierce, passionate demand for a total rethink of what it means to be a woman. Today, we're diving into that very book, Mary Wollstonecraft's groundbreaking A Vindication of the Rights of Woman.
Right off the bat, this is the heart of her argument. This isn't some polite suggestion. It's a call to arms, a revolution in female manners. Wollstonecraft is saying that women's dignity isn't something men should grant them. It's something that was taken, and it needs to be restored. And she believed that this one act could help reform the entire world.
So, where does she even begin? Well, not with a gentle request, that's for sure. She starts with a powerful accusation, aimed squarely at the society she lived in. Here's her central charge. Wollstonecraft argues that the so-called inferiority of women isn't a fact of nature at all. It's manufactured. She says that society actively, systematically teaches women to be obsessed with trivial things, to be emotionally unstable, and to be completely dependent on men. It essentially cripples their potential before they even have a chance. And what's the main tool used for this crippling? Wollstonecraft points her finger at one single, incredibly powerful culprit: the entire system of how girls were educated. She saw that girls weren't being taught to think critically, to reason, or to be good citizens. Nope, their education was all about appearances, about learning superficial little accomplishments that would make them more, well, pleasing objects for a future husband. Their minds, she argued, were being completely ignored, left to wither. Now, to get just how radical her ideas were, you have to see what she was fighting against. This quote, it's from Jean-Jacques Rousseau, one of the most famous thinkers of the era. He literally says that a woman's entire purpose, her duty, is to be agreeable to her master. This wasn't some fringe opinion. This was the mainstream view. And Wollstonecraft's response to that? It's just an absolute mic drop. She's essentially saying, look, I see man as my equal, my fellow human, but his power over me, it doesn't exist. I don't bow to your gender. I bow to reason and only to reason. It was a stunning declaration of independence. So this really lays out the two paths, the two conflicting ideals she was talking about. On one side, you have the so-called accomplished woman of her time, submissive, emotional, her whole life focused on being an object for someone else. But on the other side is Wollstonecraft's vision, the rational woman, independent, guided by reason, and seeking her own self-respect as a virtuous citizen. Okay, so if a broken education system is the problem, what's the solution? For Wollstonecraft, who was writing at the peak of the Age of Enlightenment, it all came down to one single, powerful idea: reason. She starts with the question that was central to the Enlightenment: what separates human beings from animals? Her answer is blunt and absolute: reason. This was the language all of her male peers were using. Reason was seen as this divine spark, the very thing that makes us human and allows us to be moral. And right here, this is where she makes her most revolutionary leap. She declares that reason isn't a male trait, it's a human trait. So if women are human beings, it follows that they must possess reason in the exact same measure as men. I mean, it sounds totally obvious to us now, but in 1792, applying that core Enlightenment idea to women was a profound challenge to the entire social order. This quote is the logical punchline. If women have reason, she argues, then treating them like slaves or children or property is just illogical. It's unjust. The only moral thing to do, the only rational thing to do, is to let them cultivate their minds. So, what's the goal of this new kind of education? It isn't just to get a good job or land a husband. No, it's about cultivating true virtue. It's about fostering real independence, both intellectual and financial. It's about attaining a dignity where the only thing you feel dependent on is God and your own mind. But Wollstonecraft's vision didn't just stop with fixing the individual. She saw a rational education for women as the key to improving all of society, especially that core institution of marriage. And this is a really crucial point. She wasn't arguing against men. She was arguing that by denying half of humanity the chance to develop their reason, society was shooting itself in the foot. It was holding everyone back. She believed an educated woman would be a better wife, a better mother, and a better citizen, which benefits everybody. You see, she saw the marriages of her day as being built on sand, based on a fleeting passion, a temporary attraction. She wanted to build marriage on solid rock, a marriage based on friendship, a real partnership of equals, founded on mutual respect and shared values. This creates a true companion, not just a mistress.
And you know what? She even had a practical plan to make this happen. Her proposal for a national school system was incredibly ahead of its time. She called for national schools open to everyone, rich and poor. She pushed for coeducation, letting boys and girls learn together, because she thought it would create mutual respect. And the curriculum? It would focus on reason, history, and science, not just sewing and singing.
The end result of all this is that you totally transform relationships. By educating men and women as rational equals, they learn to respect each other's minds, not just their looks. And when that happens, marriage becomes what she called a true fellowship, the sacred cement that holds a good society together.
All of which brings us to her legacy, because over 200 years later, her arguments are still echoing, leaving us with a powerful and, frankly, an enduring question about the world we live in today. You can draw a direct line from Wollstonecraft's book in 1792 to the women fighting for the vote in the 19th and 20th centuries, and all the way to the feminist conversations we're still having right now. She really did provide the philosophical foundation for generations of reformers. And so this is the question she leaves us with. Her core belief was that a truly good and virtuous society is simply impossible unless both men and women are educated to be rational, independent, and free. Looking around at our world today, more than 2 centuries after she threw down that challenge, have we actually achieved her vision?